Welcome to our sports chat. I'm Tony Ndoro. Good to have you with us here at NAMPO Virtual. In studio, I'm surrounded by Blue Bulls players, Springbok players as well, and also the Blue Bulls manages. He came here to join us, and he's going to tell us what it's like to manage the Blue Bulls. He's been managing the Blue Bulls now, the team manager, for the last 3 years, and that's Elias Bennett. Duane Vermeulen also joins us here, and Trevor Nyakane and Jason Jenkins, who makes his way back to the Bulls after playing overseas. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're here to talk about farming. What you guys know about farming, I'm sure, is probably pretty dangerous. So let me start with you, Jason. First of all, welcome back. Good to have you back in South Africa. What do you know about farming?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having us. To be honest with you, I grew up in an English school, so my farming knowledge is next to nothing.
No, I'm just kidding. I had to try and get one of you guys. But listen, Jason, why did you decide to make your way back to the Bulls?
Well, obviously with everything happening this year, our tournament in Japan got cut in March, and so we only played 5 games that side. And with the next Japanese season only starting in January, I approached my club and asked them if I could, just maybe get some game time back at the Bulls, because at that time Jake also phoned me and asked if I'd like to come back for a stint. So for me it was just about getting some game time for the year. Otherwise I wouldn't be playing any rugby until January, so it'll be nice to get a couple of games in.
Your club, Toyota Blitz, that's what it's called, isn't it?
Yes.
What's it like over there? Duane, you've also played in Japan as well. Is it competitive? Is it tough playing there?
Yeah, I must say it's actually really competitive. They've got a lot of international guys also playing at clubs, and a lot of guys that's kind of finishing their careers that will play their last 2 or 3 years abroad, and it's a lot different from what we have here in South Africa. The game is much quicker. The Japanese love their running. It's not just about the physical part of the game.
How did you survive with this much quicker?
Yeah, it was.
How did that work for you?
Luckily, I was one of the lucky ones. They managed me pretty well. So I played about 30 minutes off the bench, because you can only have 2 international guys starting in your squad. And we had a good forward pack, but not a good back line. So they had the international guys in the back line just to help out and to make the team a bit stronger.
Okay, but the thing that strikes me when I look at some of the pictures coming out of the Super Rugby, in terms of watching the Japanese teams, is the crowds are very passionate, aren't they?
Yeah, it's amazing to see how the people come to the game, especially after World Cup, and or maybe before the World Cup even. The build-up, it was good marketing from Japan to do the World Cup, and then the love of the people, starting to like the game, love the game, and starting to support the game. So you'll see at every stadium you play at, it's a lot of people supporting, and they might not know a lot about the game, but they love the game and what it's all about. So it was really nice to see. Obviously, you play in different times. You play 11 o'clock in the morning, or you can play 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's a different change. But yeah, the people still pitch up for the games.
You mentioned might not know much about the game, but still love the game. It's kind of like the Free State, isn't it, Trevor? Where you used to play for the Cheetahs. But why did you decide to kind of move away from the Cheetahs? I want to take you back in time a little bit.
Yeah, for me it was obviously the opportunity, and me being from Mpumalanga, obviously went to school in Limpopo. The Blue Bulls were very close to my heart, and we always had a bit of camps here and there when they came to Limpopo to just scout a few players, and they showed a bit of interest back then. But at that time, I think for me personally, coming from a school like Ben Foster, where obviously here in Pretoria there's a lot more schools, and they managed to sign a lot of players, and I looked at it in that way where I wanted to go and to be at a place where I can get an opportunity and not just hold bags. So That's what that's what happened to me when I was still young, and I decided, you know what, yeah, at the Free State, they had obviously great college at the time where they had the likes of the Kunis and the Robert Eberson at that time, who were very great rugby players. But for me, it was all about the opportunity, and I thought if I could start at a smaller union where I can get that exposure and be able to be put on the field, and we can work from there. But yeah, I'm not saying I was scared of coming in and playing a competition here at the Bulls.
I like the way you said that. We started a smaller union.
Yeah, you know.
You just let that pass.
So yeah, you know, if you're someone from Tanin, Bloemfontein is a very big city, and but when you compare it to Pretoria, then it's not at all. But yeah, so that's how I looked at things back then, and I decided, you know what, let me just go there and try and make something out of it. And after that, that's when I felt like, you know what, it's time to get back closer to home. And that's how I ended up finding myself here at the Bulls.
But you had a fantastic run though with the Cheetahs. I mean, we were just joking a little bit around about our Bloom, but you had a fantastic one. It was a fantastic team, you know.
Yeah, it was very good for me especially. But I think it was 2013 where the group actually came to click, and it was very much fun because the type of rugby they played is the type of rugby I thought I could play, the running rugby, but I've soon realized that it's not for me.
Oh, I see. Now I see why you're at the Bulls. That makes a lot of sense. But Elias, listen, let's just come to you from a team management perspective. You know, 3 years now managing the big boys. What is that? What do you do? How do you manage these guys? When you wake up in the morning, what do you have to do with these boys? Where do we start?
Thanks for the opportunity. Where do I start? That's the question. For me, it was actually a great honor and privilege to be part of the setup, to work with such great players. Obviously, Duane, Springbok international player, Trevor Nyakane, Jason. So it was really easy, and with Duane being there and Trevor and them, the guys that come from the Springbok setup, they came to the Bulls, they really helped me. They made my job so much easier by leading by example, where I didn't have to do much. I'd just go to the leadership group, and those guys would actually guide me in everything that I needed to do. Obviously, I had people like Tim Drolani, Faini Strydom and Niku Serfontaine as mentors before them, but I've learned through the years as we came through the ranks from different people.
Okay. Do you like have a manager's pet, like a teacher's pet? Is that how it works?
Trevor.
You do. Oh, it's Trevor. There we go.
I knew it was coming.
Why is that?
That's what the players say. They all say it's Trevor, but we've all got a good relationship. Jason knows, even though I was in Japan, I still communicate with him. Duane knows also. When he was at the World Cup, I used to send him messages to say good luck. So all the guys that I've really worked with, till today, I speak to Jesse, Andre Pollard, all of the boys that I've been with, I still have a soft spot for them.
So you guys have got a fans app, the Bulls. You've got it's called your app. The guys didn't want to talk about it. I don't understand it because they play for the team. They said I must ask you, Elias, about the app to explain everything about the app. Go ahead.
So between the Bulls and Vodacom, we've launched an app. It's a Vodacom Bulls app. You download it on your phone, and you can get basically everything on this app. So you get the fixtures, you get player profiles, and you can see once a week Jake White's on the app. So if you want to communicate with anyone or know what's happening at Loftus, you download this app, and there's prizes to be won as well. So it's easy, it's on your cell phone, and you can see everything that happens at Loftus. You'll soon, from Monday, I think we'll be launching it with the fixtures, with the way forward, what's going to happen with the rugby and stuff like that.
Well, listen, we're all looking forward to find out what exactly the way forward is, because we've seen New Zealand, we've seen Australia. They've started playing. In fact, they've concluded their tournaments already. Jason, let me come back to you. So you've got one cap so far for the box that was against the Welsh. Correct. I'm sure you're looking forward at 24. You're saying to yourself, listen, you can participate a lot more. You want to get more call-ups for the box. And it's the fact that Jake White, the director of rugby now at the Bulls, was that a bit of an incentive when you look forward, when you're looking ahead in your career?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I worked with Jake over at Toyota Vehicles in Japan. He took me over initially. And Yeah, one of the things, obviously, as I said earlier on, for me it was game time coming back now for these 3 months. But another incentive was definitely, to put yourself back on the map again. Just otherwise you out of sight, out of mind. You know? So that was definitely one of the reasons as well for coming back. Obviously, it's never a guarantee that you'll make any squad. I mean, it's a massive honor to wear that jersey. So and it needs to be earned. So obviously it's not going to happen by itself. I still need to put in the work and play good rugby. So yeah, it's definitely one of my goals.
What's he like as a coach, Jake?
I've got a good relationship with him. As I said, I've worked with him before, and everywhere he goes, he puts in a professional setup. He gives the best system for the players in terms of your daily schedule and your weekly, your programs and everything. So, you actually understand why he's achieved what he's achieved in the past. Having gone to the Brumbies, gone them to a final, gone to the Sharks at Toyota as well. We went from, I think, 9th on the log to losing in a semi-final.
Yeah.
So he's really, wherever he's gone, he's made a difference. And yeah, I think that speaks to the quality of coach that he is.
Yeah, but he is a quality coach. Duane, let me come to you. You will pick now. Jay comes in, he picks you as his captain going forward. We don't know when that's actually going to begin, but there's a huge honor to captain the Bulls.
Yeah, geez, definitely. To be Vodacom Bulls captain is, everyone says is a privilege and honor and things like that. But I must say there's a lot of history, in a Bulls jersey, and if you name the guys who's captained the Bulls before, it's pretty big boots, to fill, and hopefully I can fill it, and wear the jersey with pride and lead the team by example. So I'm not a guy that really loves to talk quite a lot. I like to play.
Yeah, you say that, but don't you have to do a lot of talking on the field when you're the captain? You've got to make the decisions. You've got to communicate the decisions to the guys. When the guys are dropping balls and stuff like that, when you decide to pass the ball,
Never.
come on, well, you've got to communicate with the guys.
I hear you. But the weird thing is, we've got a good leadership group and a really good core of guys that's been there, that's done it before, and that makes it easier, makes your job easier, because a lot of guys have different areas of the game where they can take charge, and that makes your job a lot easier. So when we're in difficult times, that's when you can speak up, or you can just approach a ref and you can work with the ref, where the other guys can work in certain areas. Like, I'll give you an example. Trevor will talk about the scrummaging and things like that. And when we come to line out, Jason will say his say with Ruan and some of the other guys. So you've got your areas where they can also stand out, and it's a kind of split captaincy in a way, that makes it a little bit easier.
Okay, so Duane, we've got 3 minutes to go in the game. 1 point difference. You've got a penalty, let's say 35 meters from the post. Are you going for a line out, or are you going for post? For points?
You take the penalty.
You take the penalty.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Captain.
That's easy.
It's an easy one. I'm going to think of a harder one. All right, I'll think of one while we talk. Trevor, you're vice captain, the last season as well, which is a big responsibility. Tell us about that. And did it change the way you performed on the field?
Yeah, well, obviously, like as Duane said, it's always we try and share the responsibility. And obviously, as a prop, you can't look at. There's a lot of things that I really exactly. And I come out of a scrum and I can't really see anything at all. So it's always a shared responsibility. But yes, it is a big responsibility to feel. But it's always if you've got a good core group, like Duane said. It makes it a whole lot easier, and there's less things to worry about. When it comes to changing the way I play, I don't think it has done that. I always go onto the field knowing that I have a responsibility, and the responsibility is to put the guys next to me in a better position. So it's, for me, it's not all about the talking and everything. I would rather play my best game than talk a best game.
Yeah.
So the guys made it easier, the guys made it joyful, the guys made it fun. But yeah, it's still a big responsibility to go carry out there. So for me, I think personally, even if I'm captain or not, I have a responsibility, and that's to do my job as best as I can. So for me, first things first is always going to be about performing and putting the Bulls at a better place than what they are. So it's always been like that, and will always be just like that.
I've got to talk to you. When you talk about performance, and just go back a year ago, Rugby World Cup 2019 round robin games. You get injured, you've got to fly back. Jesse Creel, I think, as well. It's the same scenario. You have to fly back, and then you get a chance to fly back for the final. What emotions were you feeling on that flight back? It must have been torn apart.
Yeah, you know what? Fortunately, we obviously, when we flew back, it was a bit tough. It was. I mean, you've worked with the guys for a couple of months, and it was a lot of fitness. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And you try to work to get into the squad, and when you eventually get to there where you want to get to, something like that happens. But at the end of the day, it's part of the game, and you have to accept it. You have to take it on the chin and move on. But the nice thing about this whole Springbok squad at that time is obviously we kept in contact with the guys, and they always made you feel part of what was happening, even though we were experiencing from a fan's point of view, actually from back here in South Africa. But I think being on that flight heading back was a very emotional type of thing for me, especially because obviously as a player you want to be on the field, you want to be with the guys and lifting the trophy. But with that being said, just being able to fly back and go be with the guys before that game, it brings back all the emotions. And I feel like as a player, you understand what the players are going through, because to me, it wasn't just another game I'm going to watch. It's I'm going there to support my brothers. Now, yes, it became that. It became so much part of me that even though I was sitting on the stand, to me it felt like, flip it, I am there, because I understand what the guys are trying to do. I understand what they're trying to achieve, and you get so attached to it that it didn't feel like I was going back to be a supporter. I was going back to my family, to my team, where we're gonna go to war. So all the way I felt part of it, and it was really an amazing feeling to have again.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Let me just come to you, Elias, and when you look at the mix, even the mix that we're looking at here, you've got Duane, he's 34, you've got a 24-year-old here, and you look at the squad that you guys have at the present moment at at the Bulls. I had to mention that, sorry, Duane.
There's older ones.
Did I say 34? 20? Okay, but for you, is it a fantastic mix of, I suppose what you want is, experience and a lot of young guys coming through as well, because what it paints to me is a team or squad that's looking more to the future.
I think Coach Jake has really put a good squad together for this year, and going forward, obviously in the future, is a good mixture between youth and experience. So for every position, I think he's got a bit of youth there and experienced guys. So with guys like Duane and Jason in them to lead and guide the youngsters, obviously for the future coming through the system. Yeah. The Bulls have been dominant for the last 2 years at junior level. So some of those players are being rewarded by coming through to the senior team now.
Yeah, 100%. We always talk about that whole thing about, youngsters learning, from the guys who've been in the game a little bit longer. But, give us an example. What would happen? Do you, Jason, go to another player who maybe was in your position, or you go to Duane and say, listen, in this particular instance, how should I react? And does that actually happen? Give us an example. What kind of interactions do actually happen between experienced players and the younger players coming in?
I think mostly at training, because we do a lot of review in our sessions and things like that. Yeah. I've been lucky enough to play with some awesome guys in my short career. And just things in the line, I'd say, for instance, a maul. I've learned basically everything I know about mauling from someone like Duane, and scrumming from Trevor. So it's things that happen during training and while you're doing review sessions you have those guys giving feedback. So it's not necessarily in the immediate situation, because I mean, they're also busy training, they don't have eyes everywhere.
Yeah.
But as soon as we start doing our reviews, then you start getting input from the more senior guys. And then as a youngster, you have to act like a sponge, take everything in.
Yeah.
I think that's also really important, is the attitude of the youngsters.
Okay.
And it seems like we've got some good guys at the moment that are hungry to learn.
So it's a lot when you're watching the videos, your reviews of the game and so forth, and you're watching Duane going in from the side of the mall, of the rock, and you say to yourself, that's not the thing to do. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly.
When he gets it right, you're like, oh, okay, that's all right. But I mean, it does matter, doesn't it, Duane? I mean, you do need the youngsters coming through. Do you guys get a chance? And when we talk about youngsters here, maybe talking about guys coming out of the Currie Cup, but you've got under 19s as well. You know, do you talk to those kids, you know, down the other levels that we never get to see?
Yeah, it's actually weird. So Jason was talking about the mauling and things like that. So obviously, while we're training, the under 20s or under 21s are training on a different field, and I'm really passionate about the mauling and things like that, and contesting, and obviously sometimes you get at a stage that you really want to give back, and so when I'm done with my gym session, because I don't gym as long as they do, and I don't do everything, and I don't do everything. So, but I'll walk into the pitch and I'll look at the under 21s, and I see yes, there's maybe one or two things that they can correct. So it was actually last week Friday. I had a full-on mauling session with them. And just helping their coach, because there's one or two little tweaks that you can make that makes a massive difference to a maul going forward. So, you know, if you can help a guy at that age, you know, by the time he walks into a senior team, it's so much easier. You know, he's used to it. He's seen that situation 100 times before, and then he knows how to approach it. When if you don't get that, you're at a different and a difficult stage. And now you have guys that's maybe 24, 25, but he's never had the guy who showed him how to do it the right way. And now you got to teach him, and it takes repetition to do it you know, everything correctly. So I think if you can help out at a younger age, it makes your career so much easier.
Okay, I'm 100% correct on that one. Okay, guys, when I talked about dropping the ball and giving the ball some air, you all laughed at me a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about Bulls rugby and the way forward. I mean, we've got Jake White, he's come at the helm. We've got when you look at the way rugby's been played, you know, nowadays. Let's talk about even the Rugby World Cup final. You know, Duane, you were man of the match in that particular game. Fair to say, you know, I don't think England expected us to move the ball as much as we probably did in that particular game. So if you look at what the way New Zealanders have been playing, you know, while we've been, you know, experiencing our lockdown here in South Africa, it's faster. The game is faster. It's moving. There's so many different parts. There's a lot of freedom, you know, a lot of creativity. Is that the sort of Trevor, do we see the Bulls going in that direction at all? From, you know, when we talk about Bulls in South African rugby, immediately you think big boys scrumming, you know, mauling my way all the way to the try line, that type of thing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
if you ask that question and you look at the three guys,
the three guys, I know
you would say
it's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, the game has totally evolved, and within that, you still got to find your own DNA, if I can put it like that, and. With it being so fast as well, you need to understand your group, the type of players you have, and sometimes you want to play towards their strength. And I think the way I see it as well, yes, it has become faster. And I think if you look at past players and look at us now, we are a bit bigger, but we can still move around the park as well. But with that being said, we need to find the balance of what our DNA is going to be. Yes, the Bulls can maul, and that's, if you look at it, that's something you need actually in a team to be able to do that, so that when the tough times come and there's no space, you can actually make space through that. But you also want to find the balance where if the opportunity of running is there, you can also do that. So it's not going to be a certain cast in stone that this team just mauls and scrum. We want to find the balance between running at the right time and mauling at the right time. Like you asked Duane that question and he said he will take the post. Well, we're going to look for those type of opportunities. If the opportunities for running comes, we go for it.
Yeah.
If the opportunity for mauling and scrumming comes, that's what we're going to do. We just got to be able to find that balance. And I think with a coach like Jake, he likes structure, but he gives you freedom within the structure, so you can explore yourself and bring out your X factor within that structure. So yeah, we're trying now to find the balance. Obviously, with the senior guys, Duane would probably just want to maul everything.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Move it out of the way.
You get the young ones that still want to play some exciting rugby.
Yeah.
So I think if you can find the balance between that and understanding, I think the Bulls are going to have their own new DNA, and it's going to be quite special.
Because Jason, you know, in Japan, I'm sure that's probably one of the things they love to do. And you did mention there's a lot of pace, there's a lot of speed, and so forth. But when you look at the way rugby is also evolving, even your locks, now you got hookers that are half the time they're standing by. He's an extra winger half the time nowadays. It's everybody's the skill set is changing. The skill set of every single player is a little bit more enhanced than it used to be before. How are you coping with that?
No, I think for me, I've actually been lucky to be able to play in Japan and in South Africa, so I've got a little bit best of both worlds.
Yeah.
To get the faster game and as well as the slower, more physical game. So I think I've been privileged in that sense to sort of get a balance as a player.
Yeah.
And to try and get my own DNA, as Trevor was saying, in terms of a team, but for myself as a player as well.
Yeah.
Where do I fit in? Do I want to be an enforcer? Do you want to be a more modern day lock with a bit of skills as well, and be able to get around the park? So yeah, I think it's been a good couple of years.
Talking about where do you fit in, it's also another question that we have to talk about here. Where does South African rugby fit in? And COVID-19's coming, it's changed a lot of things. We don't have Super Rugby. Looks like it's almost not going to exist. We don't really know whether it's going to carry on. Obviously, the Rugby Championship, you can't play the Rugby Championship from a South African perspective because you guys haven't played. It'd be completely unfair for you to start, all of a sudden we've got a national team going to the box, going to play somebody. So where do we go from here? Duane, what's the next step? What do you think?
Yeah, it's actually a difficult one. We've been having our preseason now for the past 2 and a bit months now.
Yeah.
And we don't know if we're going to play on the 10th of August. They might move it on, till maybe later in October. And so I think we can only focus on the now and where we are now.
Yeah,
so I think the most important thing for us is the longer we can work together as a squad and train together, we can sharpen up our skills. We can sharpen up on all the other things we were talking about now.
Yeah.
So obviously the mauling, the fitness part of it, and all of that. So we can only that's the thing we can control. Whatever happens, we also we got to be adaptable. So I think for now, just focus on what we can do.
Yeah.
And then if the competition starts 10 October, then yes, we'll be ready. And then we don't know how long we're going to play for. I know at some time the semi-finals will be semi-finals and finals will be early January.
Yeah.
And then from there on, we don't know. So we don't know, are you playing another Currie Cup? Are you preparing for a Pro 14, or are you preparing for Super Rugby, or what? So there's still,
it's up in the air. But psychologically, doesn't that bug you to a certain extent, Trevor? Or you just say, or like Duane is saying, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to focus on what I need to do today. Is it really that simple? Is what I'm saying.
It does bug me because first of all, I don't like preseason. I'm not.
Okay. Right then.
I don't enjoy preseason, but. Yeah, it is frustrating not knowing when you're going to be able to go onto the field and play. Because I think we're all itching to just get onto the field. But obviously, there's certain things that need to be put in place. But like Duane said, it's what we can do is control the controllables, control what we can control. Or if it means sharpening the skills, getting fitter, getting a bit leaner, things like that, that's what we're going to do. But all we can do now is just make sure that when the time comes and they say, Trevor, you are playing now, we have to be ready. So yes, it is frustrating, but there's not much that we can do as players around that. We just have to train hard and just wait to hear when they say, Trevor, you're playing next week, and then I must make sure that I'm in great condition to be able to go on and play a game.
I suppose, Elias, I mean, I listened to the guys talk about the fact it's preseason, you know, from a psychological perspective as well, and from your position as team manager, I'm sure you have to also come in and, you know, and talk to the guys and, you know, keep, how can I say, you know, they got to try and keep their spirits up, and, you know, especially your favorite Trevor here, who doesn't like preseason, you know, is that a part that you also have to play?
Luckily for us at the Vodacom Bulls, we've got a mental doctor that helps us once a week with those things. Obviously, for us as team managers, we don't know what's the way forward. We've been preparing this tournament, but we don't know when we officially start. The guys have just been doing preseason. You can only motivate them for so long and say, listen, guys, keep going, keep staying in the fight, you know. But the guys just need to get on the field and start playing.
You're full contact now, isn't it? You started.
Yes, we started with a bit of contact and stuff also.
Which makes a difference.
Yes.
You see Duane smiling. It's like, yes, full contact. The Currie Cup. So the Currie Cup comes back, and it'll be fantastic to have a Currie Cup tournament. That's almost strength versus strength, because all of you guys are going to be in the Currie Cup. And for me, that brings back that, you know, that whole, it gives more weight. And it's rugby's oldest tournament as well, isn't it? Can I come, Jason? What do you think about that from a Currie Cup perspective? It just makes it better, doesn't it?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think in the last couple of years it's been watered down a little bit, which was sad to see actually, because as you said, it's the oldest rugby tournament in the world. So I think it'll actually be, you know, there's one positive thing coming out of this, and that's perhaps that the Currie Cup can get that weight back and just get back to what it used to be.
Yep. You guys going to lend a few players to the other teams, because Griquas are going to be in it as well, you know. It'd be highly, because I mean, Jake has been recruiting so many players. A lot of guys coming back, and you know, I then wonder what sort of strategy you guys are going to have, Duane. You're the captain. What are the Bulls going to look like next season?
Yeah, well, I must say, it's actually weird. So you say he's recruiting a lot of players, but you know, the squad isn't that big.
Isn't that big?
You know, he turned it down quite a lot, and you know, so I think we're going to be 35 or 40 senior players, or you know, that will play first.
If I may add on to Duane,
Yeah.
in the current squad, we're currently 45. But from that 45, we've got at least 8 under 21 players. So everyone thinks we're just buying players and getting these big names.
It does look like it, though. I mean, because nobody else seems to be buying us. Nobody else can afford, because you guys have got big money backing you now.
No, it's not about the money. I just think Jake went in a way where he wanted to get certain players in certain positions to strengthen us. And with the juniors obviously being there, so with the guys that he's brought back, your Duanes, your Jasons, those are key areas where he looked at and said, okay, I need to fill up here and there, and then maybe your junior players can be there. So if the Boks do decide to go away, if they do play, then you've got those guys to fill in when these guys are away.
But you're supposed to have your under 21s, because you're supposed to be developing them. Every other team is going to have under 21s in there.
All the teams have got under 21.
I got you now. Listen, okay, so guys, we can talk forever. Just to wrap this up now, before we hope the season's going to start at some point. You know, the first 10 days of next month. Hopefully something happens. But surely, back of your mind, one of the things you got to be worried about, Trevor, is if you haven't played much, you only started full contact now. Injuries that cross your mind at all?
Yeah,
no. Hopefully not. Cross your.
It's for me, rugby's, those things can happen whether you played 5 games or not. But at this time, I think the fact that we have a bit of contact now, it gives you time to harden up as a player as well, because you start getting used to those knocks and everything. But Yeah, it will come. I mean, it's the nature of the sport. There will be a bit of injuries and all those type of things, but I think once you're physically ready and you're mentally prepared to go into a game, you manage to eliminate half of those things that might happen. But at the end of the day, rugby is always going to be a contact sport, and things like that are going to happen. I mean, I could always go back. I played almost the whole season, and when you think you're hardened and you physically in tip-top shape, and then your calf goes.
Anything can happen.
So you understand, it's just about that. We just need to be physical ready. We're getting ready. We're hardening up at training sessions. But when the games start, if it happens, it happens. But let's hope it doesn't happen.
Let's hope it doesn't
manage
happen.
to play.
It's almost one of those things you don't really want to talk about, isn't it?
I don't even want to think about it.
Never bring this up again, please. Okay, lastly, Duane, okay, so you guys go ahead. You do fantastic performance. We are the world champions. You pick up man of the match. Is there pressure on South African rugby as a whole now because we are the world champions? We've seen that North versus South game in New Zealand. We saw some really fantastic play in that game. Are you guys sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, okay, so listen, it's pressure's on us because we are world champs. Whatever we do next has got to look good. Is there pressure like that at all?
I think for SA Rugby, from Sari's point of view, I think there's a bit of pressure on them. I think the most important thing is, they got to approach it in a way like you said earlier. Australia has been playing, New Zealand's been playing, and if they are pushing for a rugby championship, I would say yes, South Africa should pull out of it because we haven't had any rugby for this year, and next year we start fresh, and say, listen, whatever they can play. And if you play, I think the first thing will only be British and Irish Lions. I think if South Africa, if everything goes well, so hopefully there'd be enough time for the guys to prepare well as a national team. But I think not a lot of international people watch our domestic Currie Cup. Really, so I think for players in South Africa to perform, yes, because there's a hell of a lot of opportunity, to get into that Springbok squad. Because the guys who play in the World Cup is not necessarily going to be the guys who will play the British and Irish Lions. So there's a lot of guys that really put their hands up in the first part of Super Rugby. That I really think deserves a spot in that box squad and deserves to wear a box jumper. So I think it will be interesting to see what Currie Cup delivers this year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I personally can't wait. Just a quick one. Listen, you think the Aussies or the New Zealanders are pushing for the rugby championship because they want to get one over us? You know what I'm saying? They're like, come boys, let's play.
Well, they might, because they selected a All Black squad, and I don't know for what.
For what?
Yeah, so, we don't know.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, guys, it's been fantastic chatting with you. And Elias, I keep saying this, but lastly, Elias, what can we expect? You're in the management from the Bulls. I mean, what can we expect? What are we expecting? What are you hoping the Bulls can achieve within the next 5 years? You brought in a great manager. What are you hoping for?
Sure, for big things.
You've got three big things over there. So you've already got that.
You've already got that.
Let's move on.
Obviously, Coach Jake would like to bring the supporters back to Loftus, bring back the glory days back to Loftus, the winning culture back for us. We've been winning, but not trophies. You understand? The Bulls are a team that gets to a final, you win the final. In the last couple of years, you play, you get to the semis, you get knocked out. So obviously it's to bring back that winning culture again for us.
100%. Guys, thank you so much, Elias, Jason, Trevor, for coming through, as well as Duane. Good luck for the Blue Bulls. We hope to see you guys back on the pitch next month. It'd be good stuff to see some good South African rugby as well. And we hope all of you guys watching NAMPO Virtual or here with us at NAMPO Virtual have enjoyed the conversation with our Springboks and our Blue Bulls players, and of course with Elias, the manager there. Remember that the Bulls won Super Rugby 3 times in 4 years. That's the sort of Bulls what we want to see back at Loftus. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.